Hey, this is Scott Welch with Welch Law, and today we're going to talk a little bit about estate planning during and after a divorce. So first of all, divorce is never a pleasant situation, and it brings along with it a lot of stress, financial and emotional. And so estate planning is probably the last thing on your mind when you're going through one. And understanding that, there are some important aspects of estate planning that occur during and after a divorce that people should be aware of. So the first is looking back at your wills and your trust. If I work with an estate or with a family, a husband and wife, when they're married, and we create a will or a trust for them, a lot of times their executor on their will, so the person who handles probate, or their trustee on the trust will be the other spouse if they were to pass away or become incapacitated. So going back and looking at those documents, if divorce occurs, then a lot of times we'll want to update those documents to change who that person is. The other thing in that context is if you have minor children and you're creating you're creating wealth, you're creating your legacy for them. If you were to pass away and they're still minors, more likely than not, they're going to go to your former spouse or to the biological parent who survives. In that situation, if you don't have an estate plan in place, if you don't have your wills or your trust set up and designate somebody to handle your money and your assets for the benefit of those children, then likely the court will appoint your ex-spouse as the person to handle those assets for the benefit of the children, since they'll be the primary guardian. So if you're in that situation, you may want to look at that as a consideration of creating a trust to avoid that scenario. The other documents that you want to take a look at are your powers of attorney. So the person who gets to handle your personal financial affairs, as well as your healthcare decisions if you were to become incapacitated. If you created those documents prior to your divorce and your ex-spouse is still listed as a primary person on those documents, you may want to update that just for clarity to make sure that nobody gets confused, that your ex-spouse doesn't step in when they probably shouldn't and start making decisions for you. And then finally, the last point is your beneficiary designations. So your 401ks, your IRAs, your life insurance policies, your bank accounts, TODs and PODs, so your transfer on death, payment on death for your bank accounts and car titles and things of that nature. You'll probably want to update those as well. Now, under Missouri statute, chapter 461.051 of Missouri statutes, if you go through a divorce, if your spouse was previously listed as one of those beneficiaries and then you get divorced, if you don't update your documents, your divorce kind of nullifies that previous designation, so your spouse wouldn't receive anything. But that may not always result in or bring you to the result you wanted otherwise. So it's still a good idea to go back, revisit those designations, make sure you update them. And then also, sometimes what happens is a divorce court will order one of the spouses to carry life insurance on themselves to take care of, for the benefit of the children, usually minors. And if they don't update their life insurance beneficiary designations after the divorce, let's do this by example. Husband and wife are married, they get divorced. They have 2 minor children. Court orders husband to carry $1 million life insurance and for the wife to be the beneficiary, or the children to be the beneficiary. He already had the life insurance and his wife was already designated as a beneficiary. But because he didn't recertify that designation after the divorce, then this Missouri statute will nullify that designation to the wife and his subsequent beneficiary would get it. So maybe he had his wife as a primary and his mom as a secondary. Well, because of this statute in the code, his wife or his mom would actually receive his inheritance. So it could end up resulting in a totally erroneous result, not at all what the courts intended, but that's why it's important to go back and revisit these designations after divorce. So again, this is Scott Welch with Welch Law. Talk about 3 things that we should think about after a divorce or during a divorce when it comes to our estate planning and to our beneficiary designations on our insurance policies. If you find this information useful or helpful in any way, we would appreciate a follow or a comment. And again, feel free to check us out on the web at welchlawllc.com. Hope you have a great day. Take care.